This is Stefan Schmidt for InsiderIowa.com. I recently was in Boston. In fact, I'm in Boston right now. And there was a story in the Boston Globe which I wanted to share with you. This is a front page story that says, road caves and tempers rise on I-93. I-93 is one of the most important north-south thoroughways that goes through Boston, south of Boston, and then north of Boston. It carries approximately 100,000 people a day to their jobs, and also a lot of people who are going to recreate, going to the shore, lakes, cabins, and other places. So it's a very busy road. And essentially what happened was, I don't know if you can see this or not, but a giant hole developed in Interstate 93, which forced traffic to be diverted to one out of, I think, 4 or 5 lanes. And they quickly patched that up. And the next day, a second huge hole developed, which caused traffic again to be delayed for hours and hours, huge traffic jams and hot tempers, people angry, people late for work, people late for taking their kids to various activities, and in general, a real serious problem. We are very dependent on transportation in the United States, and transportation takes place on public highways, takes place on rail and airports as well, and those facilities, the infrastructure for those, including airports, are public facilities. So you want to live with smaller government or less government? You want to pay fewer taxes and government is bad. Not when you're going to work and the roads start collapsing because they haven't been maintained. I mean, basically the problem in Massachusetts is that they haven't been maintaining most of their roads. So the steel rods in the concrete begin to erode and rust, and then the whole architecture of a bridge or road is compromised and starts falling apart. I've been on Route 9 in Massachusetts here in the Boston area, where you look up at the overpasses and you want to accelerate because the bridges are falling apart, literally crumbling off of the frame. And in some places they put chicken wire around the bridges so that when the concrete pieces fall off, they just stay inside the chicken wire. That's not America. That is not the United States. It's not even Massachusetts, frankly. That is a disgrace. Our governments have failed us in maintaining critical infrastructure. We as citizens have failed ourselves in pretending that we don't need government and that it's a bad thing and should go away, when in fact we're highly dependent on it for law enforcement, for a lot of other things. And when we have a political movement, a political party that is directed primarily at criticizing government and belittling it, making fun of bureaucrats and so on. Not that bureaucrats don't often deserve it. They're not perfect, and very often they misbehave very seriously, and they should be reprimanded for it. But frankly, we need to have a formula whereby Democrats, conservatives, liberals, and Republicans, and everybody else that's out there recognizes the necessity and the validity of government in a modern, complicated society like ours, and where we can find ways to prioritize the things that are really crucial and necessary and invest in those, postpone or completely leave to the private sector and to nonprofit groups those things that are not highly critical for the conduct of life in a modern, complex society, and then fund those things. One of the problems that is raised in all of the discussion about Massachusetts infrastructure is that politicians really don't want to spend money to rip apart bridges and fix them or maintain them. Because the buzz is that there's no political payoff, and that you can't go out there and say, look, this is a bridge that I built and so on. I mean, how much political value is there in saying I fixed this road so that there wouldn't be any huge potholes and sinkholes, and so that the re-rod wouldn't be rotting away, and you're going to work because I invested in this road. Politicians don't seem to think that that sells very well. So they want to build stadiums and glitzy facilities and redo the waterfront, and in the case of Massachusetts, do the Big Dig, you know, which is a fabulous but incredibly expensive waterfront project in Boston that has made that a very nice area. In the meantime, people in Boston and people who need to commute on the interstates and on the roads around Boston are finding themselves with chicken wire around bridges and with traffic jams that are horrendous because the due diligence of government in repairing and maintaining roads was really not taken care of. Think about it. Think about it. You're guilty of saying government is bad, I don't want to pay more taxes, and I think government doesn't do good things, aren't you? Not a good idea. Stefan Schmidt for InsiderIowa.com from Boston, Massachusetts.